Good afternoon. I'm Michael Artsis on Sports Daily alongside Darrell, Reid. We're on sports.com and ustream.tv. Joining us via Skype is a very special guest. He's the presiding president of the retired players portion of the NFL Players Association. He played with the Cowboys and the Redskins, and these days he's a lawyer as well. And he's here to talk about the NFL lockout and the latest developments, or the non-lockout, as a judge has ordered the players back to work and has ordered the owners to allow the players back to work. Gene Fugit, thanks for joining us. You sat out the labor situation in the 70s, so you're well versed on this. What is the latest on this situation and what's going on?
This is all about money, and we have to remember that we're talking about a lot of money. Last year, we think the NFL made over $9 billion in revenue, and they project in the very near future that they're going to be making $25 billion. That's $800 million per owner. And the question is, how much of that is a fair share for the players? We didn't have leverage in collective bargaining. They canceled that agreement 2 years ago. And for 2 years, they've been planning to lock us out. They go to the Supreme Court to try to harm us. They've been in court everywhere they can to try to harm the players and get money. And so far, they've lost at every turn. So now today, it's like they didn't expect this ruling, and guys want to work out and need to get their bonuses and get to work out, and some of them can't even get into the facilities.
Well, there are some facilities that are letting players in, but none seem to be letting players do anything other than walk in the door. They're not allowing players to work out. They're not allowing players to pick up playbooks and read their plays or check out equipment or grab balls. So what do you think is going to happen here? Is this just going to play out in court? I mean,
well, yeah, it's going to play out in court. And right now, it's a lawyer's delight. And it's like being in a cab with the meter ticking, because every time that they refuse to follow a judge's order, not only can they be found in contempt of court, but any monetary damages that are charged against them will be tripled. So they are really running a risk by not letting the players back in, and we'll see how long that charade lasts.
I mean, it seems like, just like you said, Gene, like the owners were very ill prepared for this to happen and this judgment to come down today. I mean, that judgment started back on April 7th, I believe, and for it to come down today and the judge to make this decision, the owners should have been more prepared for them to lean towards the players.
Well, the owners are prepared. They're prepared to do everything they can to lock the players and the fans out of this great game.
Gene, what about the draft? Now, can we have a draft, or is everybody a free agent? Because the way I understand it, if this ruling actually stays, everybody's a free agent and there is no draft because, again, there is no Players Association as a labor union. It's a trade association.
What a wonderful time. Boy, I sure wish I was a all-pro tight end today as opposed to 30 years ago. Look, there's a real problem. The last gasp of the expired collective bargaining agreement is the draft. There was a provision in there that said, hey, if we don't agree, we'll at least have this draft in April, blah, blah, blah. But after the draft, it's not clear even if the teams will continue to have rights to the players they even selected. And this is a great time for fans, by the way. You fans out there, you need to hold owners accountable, because not all of them want to win. And you can tell the ones that want to win because they're letting their players work out.
Gene, can you talk to us about some of the biggest differences between this current lockout and perhaps what happened in the past with the NFL?
Well, in the past, we were always forced to go on strike. There were times that we were in the court, but we were usually under the labor laws in America, which are very pro-ownership, pro-management, and tilted toward the owners. That's why our pension plan is messed up, disability plan is messed up. The owners can, have a lot of power because we can't collectively bargain. Our careers are less than 4 years, and they know if they can get this thing in September, that guys are going to need money, and maybe they can win. That's their plan all along, was to try to defeat the union as opposed to trying to work with the union. And the court found them guilty of doing that, negotiating behind our back for TV money to lock us out. So I think that the league really does not have clean hands. They do not look good, and they're illegal. They're illegal right now if you can't even let the players in where the judge ordered it. And they said, well, we're going to wait if we can appeal. That's not how it works in America. When a judge makes an order, that's the law of the land.
Gene, what do you think is going to happen next? The owners are going to appeal here, but what's going to happen is this, from everything that I'm reading, the appeal will fail.
It's very unlikely that a judge, after an 80-page decision, will overturn her own opinion. So now it goes to what they call an appeals court, and that could be this week, it could be next week. They could decide to take the case or not take the case, and they could decide to grant an injunction or not grant an injunction. But I think the law is on the player's side.
Now, if they grant an injunction, what exactly happens, Gene?
Well, if it said, what was that question again?
If they grant an injunction or don't grant an injunction, what's the difference?
Well, if the court grants an injunction, that would overrule this decision, and then the lockout would start again. But the owners can't make a strong case of them being harmed, where every player who had a chance to get a bonus, every player who had surgery, every player who needs to get in shape for the season so they can avoid concussions is being harmed every minute that they can't do that. So it's very difficult, I think, for the owners to prevail on that theory.
That's very true. That's very true.
You are recovering from a knee injury. How important is it for you to get back to a facility and to get working out?
Well, number one, there's no facility, there's no place to rehab or recover and work out from an injury than your respective teams. I mean, that's all day. That's maybe a 12-hour day where you're icing, rehabbing. And I don't think there's any facilities, especially with the insurance problems right now, everything that happened when the lockout happened, there's no other place or no better place for a player to heal from an injury than their own training room.
So we got a chance now, finally, to fix the game. We do not have transparency in the game. We don't know what the owners are doing. We know a lot of money comes in. They say we get audited financials. That's only partially true. So this is a chance to finally get it right, because it's not right. I still don't know how many concussions I had. I played 8 seasons and had no right to my medical records, and it wasn't until 2006 that we got it right, and Tampa Bay still charges for every page. So see, we still have issues that have to be addressed, and player safety is not going to be negotiated, because we're not even negotiating about that stuff anymore. It's about how much players are going to get paid, and that's former players and current players.
Gene, do you really feel like the owners are going to end up having to open their books? I think that's the that's the final step of what would push them to the edge.
Yes,
because that's something they don't want to
see how much money it really is and what they're doing. Because if they didn't have an issue with it, they would have done it a long time ago. So that is a major issue. You are right on point about that. But they will go like until the 9th inning if it's a baseball game. They're going to until the last pitch of the last out of the last inning of the last day of the season, because they have so much money to gain, and they have a union to break, and they're being led by a lawyer that did that for the National Hockey League. So their strategy is all skewed. And don't forget, the owners don't even agree. Jerry Jones won't even get a sponsor for his stadium, calls it Cowboy Stadium, because he doesn't want to share the money.
Gene, so I guess football fans can be happy because it would seem like there will be a 2011 football season and it will be on schedule. The only thing is this draft might be for naught. Is that what you say?
The rules, yeah, the rules are not clear. All we know is that there, in most likelihood, there will be a season, and the people who make their living on the game will be able to work. And we're talking about players, vendors, the cities that depend on the tax revenue, all of America, how important this game is. They will have that game. But whether they have franchise players, transition players, whether they're paying money into a pension plan and that kind of stuff, who knows?
So when the lockout was lifted and the judge made this ruling, do they not go back to the old CBA rules, or are there no rules? Can free agents after this draft and current free agents in the NFL, are they not able to sign with a team at this point, or can they sign contracts?
It gets tricky. See, Darrell, it gets real tricky because under traditional labor law rules, the owners cannot unilaterally, which is by themselves, institute new policies that are very different from the old. So they got to pretty much keep working conditions as they were and be very careful that they're not doing anything to make it worse, because they're no longer protected by the CBA. All 1,500 players have an individual right to sue if they can't get in and go to work tomorrow. I mean, it's crazy.
That would be a big class action suit, I would imagine.
No, just imagine if each individual player files a suit. There have to be a class action. I mean, my injuries may not be the same as yours.
That's very true.
Yeah, if I got a $10 million bonus next week, I mean, come on, we got players with roster bonuses.
It certainly will be an interesting situation. Do you think at the end of the day a judge will decide everything that goes down, or this will force the owners to come to the table?
Owners got to come to the table.
If not, they're going to have to open their books. I think a judge eventually will rule for them to open their books if they don't come to the table sometime soon.
Yeah, they got to come to the table. But the thing is that they have already designed a season that they can miss 4 games. So the question is, when are they coming to the table?
That's very true.
And are they bringing any money?
4 games into the season, and at that point they feel that the players will fold. That's my prediction, and I was right on this one, so I'm going to stick with that. 4 games into the season, the owners will come to the table when they feel the players will be crying, we're ready to play and do anything to play because we need money. I
hope it's sooner than that. I hope that cooler heads on the owner side will prevail.
And thank you for your time and your insight. We look forward to hearing more and seeing how this develops. I'm Michael Artsis alongside Darrell, Reid. This is Sports.com. Sports Daily on Ustream.tv. We'll be back right after this, coming to you live every Monday through Friday, 1 to 2 p.m. Eastern Time.
Welcome to Sports. My name is Greg Dorman, and this is Rally Notes.
Racing fans, don't forget that on Thursdays at 7 p.m., it's time for Rally Notes. Greg Dorman, rally racing co-driver from Klein Racing, hosts guests and takes your calls about the entire automotive industry, rally racing, and auto racing in general. Rally racing is a great sport. They have Subarus and all sorts of off-road, all-wheel drive vehicles that run through the mud and the backlogging roads. But he's not only talking rally, he'll talk all sorts of racing and automobiles as well. We'll test cars, we'll drive cars, and we'll have a lot of fun. Rally Notes, 7 p.m. on Thursday. Don't miss it.
How you doing? And welcome back to
welcome back to Sports.com, Sports Daily on Ustream.tv.
Sheesh.
Wow. You got your tongue tied.
Yeah, it's because we haven't been in the studio for a minute.
That's it. We did the New York Auto Show. Hopefully everybody enjoyed what we did from the New York Auto Show as well. You can call us up, by the way, 347-480-1724. Say hello to Artie in the control room. Again, that's 347-480-1724. And you can follow us on Twitter at sports_media. I'm Artsis Media, and he's Foots95. So we've had a lot going on the last week. We spent a lot of time at the New York Auto Show, saw some cool cars. And we've got a Bentley ride that's coming at you guys later in the week on our site, sports.com. We took the Bentley for a ride, the Bentley GT in New York City.
Continental GT.
The Continental GT.
That was hot. Took it up to Harlem.
Yep.
That was a good time.
And then we did a lot of stuff at the New York Auto Show, including our show, which you guys saw yesterday from the New York Auto Show. And, of course, we were there last week broadcasting live as well.
And you can always go to ustream.tv/sportce and check those out, correct?
That is correct, and you can watch what you missed. All right, well, we just talked to Gene Fugit about the NFL lockout.
Always good to talk to Gene. Very informative.
The judge has ordered that the owners allow the players into the facilities and the lockout is over. The players have no union. They've decertified. So they have a trade association, the NFLPA, and now the players have started to gather at the facilities and try to go back to work. They've been allowed in the door in many places, but in most places not allowed to do anything, not allowed to touch anything, the equipment, the workout stuff. They're not getting treatment. What do you make of all this? I mean, this is This is exactly as I predicted here on Sports Daily.
Well, I just don't want the fans to get too excited and think football is back right now, because although the lockout was lifted, the owners are going to appeal this ruling that Judge Nelson made, and within a week or two, it's either going to be implemented, the lockout's going to be right back in place, or it's going to be chaos, and it's chaos right now because the players are able to go into the facility, but the owners aren't really allowing the players to do anything at the facility as far as watch film, as far as work out. And that's what really this offseason right now is about, working out, practicing, and watching film, and the players aren't allowed to do that.
Well, and keeping yourself focused on football. Now, I know that the fans are really excited about this, but the reality is that it's far from over, that it's going to be a long, drawn-out process in court. And that's the thing, and already the NFL owners are appealing the decision by the judge to say that the lockout is unjust. Now, Damari Smith is saying, the head of what is the NFL Players Association, a trade association, has said, and he's been leading these negotiations, he has said the NFL has broken the law here, that the owners have broken the law, and that's what we heard Gene Fugit say just a few minutes ago. We're going to have a draft show. Even though the draft might not count, we're having the fans/players.
The draft is going to count. I don't know why Mike keeps saying that.
We're going to have the fans/players draft show here live on Sports on Thursday night, and we're going to have Gene Fugit in studio along with a lot of other guests. But you think the draft is going to count?
I think the draft is going to count. What I'm more interested in and more worried about is what's going to happen after the draft. What's going to happen with those free agent players like myself when I came out of college that wasn't drafted and that are still a vital part of the NFL and are some of the go on to become some of the top players in the NFL. And what happens to the guys in the NFL right now that are currently free agents, because they cannot sign contracts, and neither will the draft picks be able to sign contracts.
I think we're looking at guys going to Canada to play. And we're looking at guys looking at the Arena Football League, or what is left of the Arena Football League. And I think that there are clear issues here, though. And right now it's like the Wild West. But I do think that the draft will count. I don't know that what's exactly going to happen. It's going to all have to be decided, in my mind, by a judge. And the draft, but ultimately the draft will count.
Yeah, I think there's no doubt about it that the draft will count. You know, it's just a matter of what happens to those free agents.
Now, I think that this doesn't get resolved till like October, and that's what I've said all along. I'm not going to change horses now unless a judge orders the league to play this season.
You say when?
I say October.
I say July.
September, October.
I say July.
You say July.
Yeah, because I think the owners realize. One thing you got to realize, Mike, is if it goes all the way even in September, October, if it goes that far into the season, players cannot just come and start playing an NFL game. Say it started October 1st. They're not going to be able to play a game October 7th. That's not how it works. You need time to practice, to get on the same page, to gel, to get your body in the right type of condition. Players can work out as much as they want, and any player will tell you this. You can work out, you can run as much as you want. It isn't until you put those pads on that you really feel and you can get into football playing shape. It's a difference between being in shape and being in good shape and being in playing shape to play the game of football, and being able to carry a 10-pound helmet on and those shoulder pads.
But if everybody's at the same spot, can't you just start?
You can start, and you know what you'll have? A lot more injuries. Just like you have a lot of injuries in the preseason, because that's the beginning of football, because some players aren't as in shape, because some players haven't worked as hard. So you're getting hamstrings, you're getting torn muscles, broken bones. The impact of that game, the hits that happen in that game isn't going to change just because the season starts October or September. But how well those players are in shape and how well they're prepared to take those big hits and take those impact plays will change.
Well, it'll be interesting. I think that they'll start in September, October, and they'll take a 2 to 4 week period to get everybody ready, and they'll play football. I just don't see it.
Well, that pushes the. I mean, you saying they're going to take 2 to 4 weeks to get ready? That pushes the season all the way back to mid-October, November. You're saying
right, and
that pushes the end of the season to
March.
April.
And the reason I see this is because I see the owners exhausting every possible other scenario and taking it and dragging it all the way through court. And these things don't happen quickly. Look how long the judge was supposed to rule on April 7th. It is now April 26th, and we just have a decision on that ruling, and that's 20 days late basically. And it's going to take a long time to get the rest of the stuff going, and then you're going to have to figure out what the deal with the draft is. The only way this gets solved before then is if the owners come to the table and say, you know what, this is ridiculous. What do you guys need? Let's go play football. And I don't think that that's happening at all.
Egos.
You got egos involved, and you have a lot of wealthy people who own teams who have huge egos, and I don't think that they're going to back down. They're certainly not going to let their employees, their players, push them around, and that ego-wise.
I mean, I hope they put the egos to the side and pride to the side and get something done before the end of July, so the players themselves can be prepared to play this season. I think that's who's going to suffer, and the game of football is going to suffer.
What about the 70 players who filed suits on their own late last week, who kind of show a little bit of splintering?
I don't think it's splintering. They tried to join the players that had already filed a suit. They felt that it was their job, their obligation to file their individual suits or join in the players that already filed a suit. The fact of the matter is that suit had already been put in place, and so they couldn't join that suit, so they made another suit. I don't think it's as splintering as you think, Mike.
All right. Well,
I think it's a team, two different teams against one.
Two teams against one. It's like Canadian doubles.
Yeah, I think it's both sets of the players, both the new 70, the old 25 against the owners.
Well, there's a lot going on, certainly. We got to talk a little NBA.
It's playoffs.
It's playoffs.
Yeah.
And the Celtics, they swept the Knicks.
Well, I mean, who's surprised by this? Even though when we initially did our picks,
I think somebody's a little surprised.
When we initially did our picks,
yeah.
Even though the Celtics are my team.
You said that the Knicks, the best chance the Knicks had.
I said it was against Miami. But
it was against Miami.
But they played the Celtics, and I thought they had a good chance because of how the Celtics ended the regular season and how the Knicks ended the regular season. Of course, I could not, and nobody could take into account the injuries that the Knicks would face going in this series with Amari Stoudemire, with Chauncey Billups missing almost the entire series, as well as Carmelo not playing.
Does Chauncey Billups stick with the team, or do they look for somebody else?
As much as I love Chauncey, I think the Knicks are going to let him go rather than pay him the $15 million that he's due. I think they'll let him go, and I think for Chauncey it'll be a good thing because he may go back to Denver, where he's from, where he was really enjoying and really wanted to end his career.
Well, Chicago lost to Indianapolis the other night, to the Pacers, 89-84, forcing a Game 5. But I thought that series was going to have a sweep, and I was surprised that the Spurs didn't sweep. But the Spurs,
that's what the Spurs are down right now in their series 3-1 to the Memphis Grizzlies, which to me is the biggest surprise in the NBA. I had the Spurs as my team coming out the West, despite the Lakers and the Twin Towers and all of that. I had the Spurs as my team to come out the West, and really, I'm disappointed. I'm disappointed that this Grizzly team is giving them they're the number one seed. They're the number one seed in the West, and the Grizzlies are giving them like so many problems, and there's a lot of matchup issues. I didn't realize the Grizzlies had Paul Gasol and Zach Randolph, guys that are physical in the middle, and that the San Antonio, Tim Duncan can't cover. Obviously, Antonio McDyess cannot handle Zach Randolph. So there's a lot of matchup issues in that game, as well as Connolly, the Grizzlies point guard, doing a very good job of slowing Tony Parker down. And then Ginobili was hurt going into the series, and he's not playing 100%.
So do the Spurs can they come back and win this?
I think it'll be very tough. I mean, they're down 3-1. Right now, I think it'll be very tough for the Spurs to come back and win this series. So it looks like your Lakers might be coming out the West.
So the Lakers are going to be coming out of the West, like I said. The Knicks are not coming out of the East, like you said. But where does that put Boston? Boston, are they clicking on all cylinders now? Are they a team to be beat? Are we going to see three phenomenal teams here, the Celtics, the Heat, and the Bulls, somehow they're going to square off?
Another surprise, or to you, would be the Orlando-Atlanta matchup out there, because Atlanta has Orlando down right now. But to me, the Celtics are definitely clicking on all cylinders. Ray Allen is on fire. He's shooting around 75% from three. Some guys don't shoot that well from the foul line. So you put that into perspective, and he's taking about 15 threes right now. So he's on fire. They're clicking. Rondo is unstoppable. He had 30 points in Game 3. I think he had about 20 assists, in Game 4, triple-double. They're clicking on all cylinders, and the Knicks had no answer for them because they didn't have enough stars to play against them. I think when the Celtics play the Miami Heat, we'll have a closer series. They're certainly not going to sweep them, but I really think the Celtics can pull it off and beat the Heat also.
Wow, I think the Heat are the team to beat still, but I'm surprised that you say that, but I do think that the Celtics are clicking on all cylinders. I think they certainly proved themselves to a lot of people, and as I've said for a while, I think that they're a playoff team. It doesn't matter what they do in the regular season, they come together in the playoffs, and that seems to be what they've done here. Now, we're going to turn our attention to hockey in just a moment, but there's a video that we want to play and talk about, and it's Kobe Bryant's PSA that he's put together for dropping the F-bomb on the court.
Well, first off, Kobe's hurt. He hurt his ankle the other night in the game, and he's saying he's going to play. He doesn't want to even test his ankle. He's going to play, and if I was him, I would feel the same way. It's a 2-2 tie in that series right now, a pivotal Game 5, and New Orleans, Chris Paul, and that team down there has really been giving the Lakers trouble. So he has to play. I mean, any superstar is going to play in that game, and especially a competitor like Kobe, who's played through injuries. You can't take that away from him. He's such a competitor, and he has so much drive. He's going to try and play in this game. How effective he will be, we'll see. And I don't know if the Lakers will be able to get over New Orleans without a healthy Kobe Bryant, because they're having trouble. They're having trouble with LA with the healthy Kobe.
Right, they're tied at 2, and I think it's mostly because of Kobe being injured.
Well, he just got injured.
Yeah, but he's clearly, you don't just get injured. Especially an ankle. I think you.
No, he rolled his ankle, Mike. Either way, everybody knows.
But I'm just saying that it's probably been bothering him longer. Come on.
So Kobe,
do you just tear up your knee, or does it bother you for a while?
No, you just tear it up. So Kobe made a little slur that some people were offended by, and he did this PSA, this special PSA, like I said he would. I said it was a perfect opportunity for him to do a PSA and kind of like show everybody he's a good guy. So we got to look at that, Mike, and I got to get your opinion on what you think about that.
All right, let's play it.
From Kobe.
First announcement.
There are all kinds of different people in the world. That's what makes the world special. So whether someone is different than you, in race,
ethnicity,
political beliefs,
religion,
or sexual orientation, words can be hurtful. Replace them with understanding, compassion, and acceptance. Let's make this a better world for all of us. Because we're all in this together.
Lakers are the ones who produced this PSA, and not just Kobe. Their intent was to address the gay and lesbian issue, but several other issues as well, as you heard in there about race and ethnicity, etc.
What do you think about that, Mike? I mean,
what do you think is a better question?
Yeah.
I mean,
he got
seem genuine?
He got his his teammates to come out there and did this whole thing.
Well, why? Why did he get his teammates? It doesn't make sense to me. I feel like he's the one who made the mistake. He should be the one to do it. And
at the critical parts of the commercial, he said the words that needed to be said.
Now, what do you think it was genuine?
I mean, you know how that is. You get in trouble and you try to make up for it, so you apologize.
But wouldn't you make it a genuine?
Athlete, you make a.
Wouldn't you make it a genuine apology?
I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was genuine. It's hard to judge a guy.
I think we should watch it again.
I mean,
we should watch it again. Let's play it again.
One more time. One more time for the people.
Has put together a public service announcement.
There are all kinds of different people in the world. That's what makes the world special. So whether someone is different than you, in race,
ethnicity,
political beliefs,
religion,
or sexual orientation, Words can be hurtful. Replace them with understanding, compassion, and acceptance. Let's make this a better world for all of us. Because we're all in this together.
Lakers are the ones who produced this PSA, and not just Kobe. Their intent was to address the gay and lesbian issue, but several other issues as well, as you heard in there about race and ethnicity, etc.
I'd love to play that video over and over again. First of all,
we're all in this together, Mike.
We're all in this together. When he says or sexual preference,
exactly,
he looked like he looked like they propped him up and somebody was moving his mouth.
You know what's funny? Because Mike's an editor. You know, Mike, you know how to edit, and you know I'm learning how to edit. And you look at that video, and you be like, how many takes did they? How many times do they cut that and take?
The other thing is, why couldn't he say this in one take?
Well, I mean, because they knew what they cut to his teammates and stuff. I'm trying to make excuses for Kobe.
No, don't make excuses. I'm asking you, why couldn't he do this in one take?
Because maybe it wasn't something he really came from his heart. When something comes from your heart and you believe in it, it's easier to say.
But he's an entertainer. He's an
your heart and
entertainer.
your head.
Can he fake it?
It's harder to fake it, don't you think? I think it's easy for Mike a lot.
To fake it? That's not true.
I don't know.
I'm just saying.
We'll ask somebody later.
I'm not faking, whatever. The thing is, if we watch this over and over again, this guy, I mean...
Mike, you can't just keep watching this thing on your laptop, all right?
He doesn't even have, there's no emotion. There is no emotion.
I will give you that. Mike's got a good point.
He's like a robot.
No emotion. I think Ron Artest smiled.
We're all in this together. Yeah, Ron Artest has the most emotion. He's about to jump into the stands and beat somebody up. We're all in this together. I'm here. I'm told we couldn't find a better background than the white wall. I couldn't do it on a basketball court. I have to say, I'm sorry. I have to say tolerance. I
think it is.
Tolerance.
Pretty plain.
Tolerance.
It is pretty plain.
We're all in this together. He doesn't know emotion. We're all in this together. It doesn't matter if your sexual preference, what your sexual preference is. Wait, could I say that again? It doesn't matter what your... What is it again? I mean, come on. Come on. This guy can't...
We knew this was going to happen, Mike.
Then why do it? Then say, no, I'm not doing a PSA. I'm going to apologize. I release a statement. It's wrong. Don't say anything if you're not going to say it right.
You got the GAAL coming after you and saying, hey, Kobe, we want you to do a public service
Here's what
announcement
he should do.
for us and the people,
this is what he should have done.
100,000 fans that you offended.
This is what he should have done. He should have said, look, I don't feel comfortable doing this. I don't feel right doing this. This is what he should have told them. I'm going to buy a billboard.
You can't tell him that.
I'm going to buy a billboard in L.A. on the freeway that is promoting you guys. I'm not going to be part of it. I'm just going to pay for the damn billboard.
No. He has to be part of it.
No. Just issue an apology.
I commend Kobe.
I do not commend him.
Not really.
You commend him for a half-assed job?
I'm joking.
Do a real job. Do the job for real.
I mean, he did a commercial somewhat, kind of, sort of, in a way.
Who's going to believe that? Every little kid that sees that isn't going to think he believes that.
Can we just, hey, Artie in the control room.
You want to play it one more time?
No, I just want a close-up. Just stop anywhere in that so we can just get a zoom on Kobe's face.
I want to play it, and I want to have our mics up, and I want to walk through it as we play it. And it might have to be in DDR1 for us to hear it.
No. We just need that picture of Kobe. We get a still shot of Kobe?
Ron Artest is smiling like he's high.
I just want a still shot of Kobe. And the look on his face.
Words can be hurtful.
No, he looked right there. He looked like he didn't even want to say that.
He doesn't want to say any of this.
Can we get a still shot of Kobe?
Let's make this a better world. He doesn't even, he just says, let's make this a better world. There we go. So there's the still shot. It looks like a mug shot, first of all. Can we get something other than this white wall? Why do we have a white wall behind him? They couldn't have found a better place to do this. And I mean, this isn't about the Lakers. He shouldn't be wearing his Lakers jersey. This is about Kobe Bryant.
I mean, anytime any sports guy does
well, then take 5 minutes to actually make like a real video. If you could play this a little, Artie, if you could just play it a little, and we can watch. I'm going to show you. Play it from the beginning. I want to show you every time there's a cut. Let's play it from the beginning. Here we go. We're going to roll it back now. And every time there's a cut, I'm going to show you.
Now the team has put together a
looks
public
like
service
guy's
announcement.
Getting cut up a lot.
There are all kinds of different people in the world. That's what makes the world special. So whether someone is different than you.
And 3 cuts to say the first thing.
Ethnicity,
political beliefs,
Now we got all the
religion,
teammates.
or sexual
They're all on a white wall.
orientation.
4 cuts,
Words can
5
be
cuts,
hurtful.
6
Replace
cuts,
them with
7
understanding,
cuts.
compassion.
Well, you know what? He
and
probably did it
acceptance.
right after
Let's
practice.
make this
8
a better
cuts.
world for all of us. Because we're all in this together.
He probably did
Lakers
it
are
right
Nine
the
after-
ones
cuts.
who produced this.
10 cuts.
He probably
he
did it-
cannot.
He probably did it right after practice.
Explain- so
And
what?
to give him time to learn the script. You know how that is,
Learn
Mike.
the script. He should say it from the heart. I
It's a
screwed
script.
up.
It's come on. It's advertisement. You know there's a script.
Oh, come on. They should have
You
said.
know there's a script,
I would have
Mike.
done. I could have produced this piece
Everybody
better
just
for
can't
him.
wing it like we do the show.
There is a lot of preparation that goes
You
into
see
this
this?
show. We sit for hours and plan this show. We get guests.
This show does take hours to plan, especially in that control room. I tell you.
And we got all sorts of technical problems we have to work out all the time. I mean, come on. This guy just has to stand in front of a white wall. Why couldn't they put him in a better background? Why couldn't he be sitting? Here's an idea. Okay, gather some fans. How about you invite some fans who are of different backgrounds, different sexual preferences,
I mean,
different
that's,
ethnicities.
okay. Now,
Well, hold on. You put them in
Well,
this.
listen, Mike, the point you're trying to make is could they have made the commercial better? Yes, they could have. Of course, they could have made the commercial better. But that's not Kobe's job.
But he
That's
should
not-
have. Are you kidding?
That's not his job,
Let me ask you
Mike.
something. Okay, if this was your PSA.
He says,
if
hey,
this
you
was
want me to do a commercial?
Okay,
All right, we'll do
you're
a commercial.
a professional.
He doesn't even want to do the commercial. He's like, you know what? If we're going to do it, then right after practice. It's the only time I got time.
All right, I know you pretty well, D. If this was your commercial, if you had messed up, and let's just say you don't have a publicist in your life that should have helped you through this. Let's just say that for a second.
Kobe's got a publicist. He has to.
Let's just say you don't, but he should, and the publicist should have helped him. But let's just say you don't. Now, if they came up to you and said, this is what they want you to do, you would have gone along with it for about 8 minutes before you said, no, we're doing it my way. Is that correct?
Well, I mean, you can't just
Here's
tell.
what we're doing. What do you mean you can't
You
just tell?
can't just tell somebody how to shoot the commercial.
Are you kidding me?
He's not an expert.
I've seen you do it before.
Shooting commercials.
I'm going to walk off this set. You're crazy. You're crazy. I've seen you do it before. No. This is how we're doing it. All right, check it out. You did it with the auto show. You completely changed what we were doing. What do you mean? You're not an expert.
Listen.
What do you mean, listen? No. Be realistic. No. Listen to me.
We don't know. Okay, here's
be
a good
realistic.
Point. Here's a
You
good
come
point.
out of practice.
You don't know the budget for that commercial. Maybe they had no budget
You don't need a budget. They needed a handy cam and 5 more minutes.
to bring a people in and a background. That takes money.
They could. All he needed was more feeling. You don't. I mean, let's start with more feeling and a better background. It doesn't need a background.
You know
How
what?
about not a white wall?
I think he should have done it with his family or
How
something.
about sitting in the locker room or with his family or something else? I'm teaching my kids that tolerance is much more important than
I think if he
words.
would have did it with his family, he would have had a lot more feeling.
This is
behind
my
it.
son Kobe Jr., or whatever his name is, and I'm teaching him that what I did was wrong and that you can't treat people like that. You want to hear a crazy story my in-laws told me at dinner last night?
Okay.
Okay, this is about tolerance, and
All right.
it angered me, and I said I don't know if I could have done what they did, which was nothing. Okay.
What happened, Mike?
Okay, my in-laws went to the California Pizza Kitchen in the mall
All
last
right.
Friday night, and there was a man and his 2 sons, a white man and his 2 sons sitting at the bar. The restaurant was packed. My in-laws say, let's go to the bar. We need to eat. We're hungry. They're older people. I don't want to say elderly, but older. Okay.
Okay.
There was
following.
my in-laws waiting and a young black woman with her daughter waiting for some seats at the bar. Okay. These guys completely finished with their meal, and they're completely finished with their meal, and they're just sitting there watching the Knicks game. And it's a California Pizza Kitchen, not a sports bar.
Okay, all right.
And my in-laws say to the young black woman, "Excuse me, ma'am, do you know if that guy, like, if he's finished or whatever?" And she says he's finished, but he gets very upset if you talk to him. They made it clear that they're staying through the whole Knicks game. It's only in the first quarter, but they're going to stay. And my in-laws were like, well, that doesn't seem fair to us or you or the waiter or the bartender who's going to not make any money. They've already paid their bill. Why doesn't the restaurant ask them to leave? Okay, nobody says anything. They let it go. A couple of seats open up for the black woman and her daughter, and they sit down. And I guess my father-in-law or my mother-in-law says to the father or the family something like, "Are you guys going to be here for the whole game?" And they, yes, we are, something like that. And the young black lady says, excuse me, don't you think it would be polite to let these elderly people sit down and eat dinner? Which, of course, my in-laws were a little insulted by because they're not elderly, but it was a very nice gesture. The young kid gets up and says, don't you tell me what to do, you N-word, to the woman, and starts screaming and yelling. Then the woman starts screaming and yelling, okay? And my in-laws just stood there and didn't know what to do. And
you know what, Mike? I'm glad I wasn't there.
You or I both would have killed this kid.
I would have.
My father, exactly. That's what I said. I was talking about this last night.
Sleep.
And my father-in-law goes over to the father and says, you should be ashamed of yourself. What kind of way is this to raise your boys or to teach them how to do? Anyway, the father picks the kids up and runs out. They're both 16 and 15 about, the kids, the two boys. And the woman, her daughter runs off, about a 16-year-old girl runs off crying to the bathroom and said that they've lived in northern New Jersey their whole lives and have never faced this kind of racism, have never been called the N-word. And it's terrible, and it was uncalled for, and it's completely unacceptable. You or I both, if I was there, I told my in-laws straight up, I said, if I was there, I would have been carted off to jail. I would have defended that woman.
I would have knocked the dude out.
You and I both would. And I said, and I brought your name up. I said, there's no way. And they felt that the kid said it because it was a woman. But there is no room for racism.
Now, so their dad said that to the woman?
No, the 16-year-old, but the dad didn't stop the kid.
Wow.
And he didn't say, you can't say that. He didn't do, no. And it became a scene in the whole restaurant. It was very loud. And they basically had to run out of there, or you know, it would have created problems. Now, the restaurant bought the young family dinner.
I would have beat the 16-year-old up and his dad.
I would have too. I mean, it would have been bad.
Maybe I just beat his dad up for not saying that.
But my in-laws were like, well, that's not the right thing. And then you and I would have been arrested. And then what is that?
I would have been arrested.
But here's the thing.
I would have felt good about myself in jail too.
But here's the thing. What I'm trying to say is that this father didn't take his son and grab him by the back of the neck and say, listen, Junior, you don't act like that. I don't know where you learned that word, and I imagine it's from the father, but you don't act like that. You know?
Yeah,
and what I'm saying is this is a perfect opportunity for Kobe Bryant. It's the same kind of thing. It's tolerance. It's a perfect opportunity for Kobe to take his little... I'm saying to take his son and say, I'm teaching my son tolerance. I made a mistake. I'm trying to teach my son.
It's hard for me to argue with Mike right now. Only because after hearing that story, like I really want to go to the pizza kitchen and run into this dude and his kid or his son or whatever and really smack them up.
And it made me really angry. And what I'm saying is that Kobe could have used this as a situation to not only teach about sexual preference or religion, but also race and use his children as an example. And then
that's why I say it would have been better if his family was there.
Exactly. So you're 100% right. And then maybe what happens is somebody watching it turns to their son and says, son, you know what? Kobe's right. You don't act like this.
I know what they tried to do. They tried to have Gasol, and Artsis and
but they
Kobe,
still could have had,
who are different people.
What if they use Kobe's family and he's teaching his son a lesson and he says, and these guys are my family too, and they're all from different places. Yeah, I mean, you could have been so creative with this, and it would have only taken 5 minutes. And you know what? It doesn't need a budget, and you could have done a better job. And that's all I was saying about
100 times better.
And that's all I was saying about being in the stands and being with the fans. And you know what? Here's just a perfect example of a blown opportunity, not only for what he did wrong, but tolerance across the board.
I think he could have done it like that, like sitting as a spectator in the stands, and maybe as like a regular person, and have the arena like full or half full for the commercial, and say we're all in this together.
And do you think
have different types of fans, before have Jack Nicklaus there and everything?
Before this, do you think that people who are gay rooted for Kobe? Of course they did. They support him. If it wasn't for those fans, gay, black, white, Latino, Jewish, Catholic, Protestant, if it wasn't for those fans who come and support him, not caring about his color, his religion, his sexual preference, Kobe wouldn't be making $30 million a year.
That's very true. In Kobe's defense, and in defense,
why are we defending him? He doesn't appreciate anything.
Hold on, Mike. In his defense, especially after Mike's story, it's hard to compare what he said in the middle of the game, because I don't think he meant it in the way that it was taken.
We've been over this. I agree with you, but
as opposed to how this 16-year-old kid
you're 100% right. And we don't know the sexual preference of the referee either. So if he's not gay, then if he's not a gay American, then it even more so lends itself to that. But it doesn't even matter. It's what he said, and then he should use it for good. And he should buy into it, and he can, again, not only show that it's sexual preference, but that it's race, it's religion, and it's all sorts of other things. It could be that your child or somebody has a medical or mental condition. It could be that somebody's different because they have autism. And he didn't use this opportunity properly. He wasn't genuine about it. It doesn't make it believable. And I'm sure that every kid who watches it laughs it off and thinks it's just a slap on the wrist. And exactly what you said, he had to do this. He should have made it feel like he didn't have to do this. And if he couldn't do that, like I said, buy a billboard, write an apology, and don't comment on it.
Well, listen here. This is Sports Daily. We're going to take a quick break, but thanks for joining us. Please call in 347-480-1724. Ustream.tv, our partners. Michael Artsis, Darrell, Reid will be back right after this.
Welcome to Sports. My name is Greg Dorman, and this is Rally Notes.
Racing fans, don't forget that on Thursdays at 7 p.m., it's time for Rally Notes. Greg Dorman, rally racing co-driver from Klein Racing, hosts guests and takes your calls about the entire automotive industry, rally racing, and auto racing in general. Rally racing is a great sport. They have Subarus and all sorts of off-road, all-wheel drive vehicles that run through the mud and the backlogging roads. But he's not only talking rally, he'll talk all sorts of racing and automobiles as well. We'll test cars, we'll drive cars, and we'll have a lot of fun. Rally Notes, 7 p.m. on Thursday. Don't miss it.
Hello there, everybody. Welcome to the Warning Track. I'm Matt Mankiewicz.
If you could change one thing about the game today, what would it be?
Baseball fans, don't forget to check out the Warning Track Friday nights at 6 p.m. with Brett Quintine and Matt Mankiewicz. They'll take you through the MLB season, talk everything baseball, have great guests, and field your calls. It's 6 p.m. on Friday night. Don't miss it. The Warning Track. It's out of here.
Welcome to Sports Daily, and we really just got to wrap things up, go through these last couple things with you, and get out of here. The Mavs are up 3-2 in the series against the Trailblazers, and I felt like the Trailblazers might upset the Mavs in that series, but the Mavs are playing great. Tyson Chandler had 14 and 20 last night. Jason Terry, a great X factor. In the Nuggets and Oklahoma City series, the Nuggets finally won a game last night, but I think it's totally irrelevant. Oklahoma City is going to finish that in Game 5 back in Oklahoma.
I just want to give props to the Dallas Cubans. I mean Mavs. Mark Cuban's team.
Yeah, Mike's team. Mike loves Mark Cuban.
They're my adopted team now that the Knicks are out.
All right, so now you got Dallas in the finals?
No, I'm rooting for them, that's all. I still got the Heat and the Lakers.
And in the NHL, the Sharks advanced, like I said. They
Yep, and unfortunately, the Capitals advanced too, knocking off the Rangers, who really had such a heartbreaker of a series. They played well enough to win,
Let me just say, Mike, what a sad weekend in sports for New York fans. For the Rangers fans, for the Knicks fans, Sunday, Easter, was just like a beautiful day outside and such a sad day inside if you were watching your television and watching your teams play.
And for the Rangers, I mean, they have a 3-goal lead in Game 4 to even the series, and they blow the 3-goal lead, which is completely unacceptable. And then they lose on one of those lucky kind of fluky goals, but a complete miscommunication and breakdown between one of the defensemen and Henrik Lundqvist. And, you know, you just can't take the puck away from your goalie. If your goalie goes for it, you've got to get your stick out of there. And that's, you know, what happened. And then, of course, the Rangers just couldn't regroup. And now I turn my attention to the Buffalo Sabres, who have Thomas Vanek
hold on.
and our New York team.
Hold on, Mike. I feel like I should go back to the mecca of basketball and also where the Rangers play, Madison Square Garden, and maybe get the fans' reactions to the Knicks and Rangers getting put out in the first round.
You know, let's do it then. Let's do it.
Maybe hit it to the streets one more time. But in this Buffalo Sabres series, you know, it's tied up 3-3 now, and I'm pulling for the Sabres. I'm really pulling for them. My boy Thomas Vanek, he's been playing well, and it seems like sometimes when he scores, they still lose. So I'm kind of upset with that, Mike.
You're upset with that?
He scores and they lose. I mean, he's playing well.
Yeah, but you got to say he's playing well and that they still have a chance to win the series. It's not over. Be upset when it's over. It's tied at 3-3 with the Flyers, and I want nothing more than the Flyers to lose at this point. I want Buffalo to win. I want the Flyers to lose, and quite frankly, I'd like to see Buffalo go the whole series, go the whole way, so we can get the cup in here with Vanek.
Exactly, and you tell Vanek to bring the cup in. That'd be nice.
Now, I just want you to know my wife, Jill, let me know that I completely butchered that story, but I did get the point across. And that what I said was true. I might have been paraphrasing a little, but the N-word was definitely dropped by the 16-year-old.
I don't want to talk about that story. It makes me want to go out and, like, rough somebody up right now. Like, I wish somebody would say.
But I just want to say one last time, I really think that Kobe could have, it's a missed opportunity. That's, I was kind of kidding around at the start about, oh, he should have done a better job and whatever. We're kind of giving him a hard time. That's what we do. But when you really look at it, he really missed an opportunity to do the right thing and to teach not only his own children, but so many kids a good thing.
And I agree with you, Mike. The commercial could have been 100 times better. And we knew he was, when he said that at that game and the fine that he got and all the coverage he got, the negative media coverage he got, overusing that word that slandered so many people and so many people were offended by. We knew that Kobe was going to do some type of ad commercial. I said that.
Yeah, I just think that if you're going to do it right, or don't, like I said, don't do it. But anyway, let's get back to the NHL for a second. The Penguins are tied in their series 3-3.
Come on, Paulie Martin. That series should be over.
For Paul. Can we get Paulie Martin on? We got to get Paulie Martin on.
They got no Sidney Crosby. They're still fighting. Come on.
That series should be over. The Canadians are down by a game 3-2 to the Boston Bruins, which I think I predicted. You were all hot when the Canadians won the first game, but I was watching the Rocket the other night, Maurice Henry Richard's story, and
what about the Canucks?
Interesting.
What about the Canucks having a 3-0 lead?
And blowing it?
And blowing it. And now they're tied with the Blackhawks and going into a Game 7. Do the Blackhawks, because they've won 3 in a row, now have a clear advantage?
The Blackhawks finish it off because here's the thing. Just like
I don't want the Blackhawks to win. They traded my boy.
Just like the Rangers, the Vancouver Canucks don't have that killer instinct. And when they have their foot to the opponent's throat, they don't step down. And they don't. It's the finishing move. There's no Mortal Kombat finishing move. And so now, obviously, the Chicago Blackhawks have life breathed into them, and they know how to win, and they will win, and they know the finishing move. And San Jose won their series like you said they would.
I said the Sharks. I think the Sharks.
Obviously, Detroit sweeps the Coyotes, who didn't even deserve to be in the playoffs.
And what about the Predators?
And the Predators beat the Ducks, which shocked me.
I like the Ducks.
So
just ever since the movie, I didn't really care about that series as much as I care about other ones.
The Flying V. Apparently, the Flying V didn't work out. But anyway, I think the Blackhawks will win this series tonight. Not a problem. I think the Vancouver Canucks have had a colossal meltdown, and I don't even know in hockey how you can get your psyche around winning tonight after losing the last 3 after leading the series the way they were.
Yeah, that's going to be tough for them, man.
It's going to be real tough.
I'm not sure where the game is tonight.
It's a good question. I believe it's in Chicago, which will only help, and I'll double check that.
Exactly. Only help the Blackhawks.
Game 7 is in Vancouver.
So I mean, maybe they can. They should.
It's not a hockey mecca. It's not like playing in Philly at home. Or playing in the Garden at home. Or Detroit. Yeah.
Or the Octopus.
I don't think it's going to matter in Vancouver. And Philly's playing in Philly against Buffalo, and hopefully Vanek can put up 2 or 3 tonight, and they carry Buffalo on his shoulders.
I mean, I wish we could go to the game. I mean, they're in Philly.
Yeah.
We can't go tonight. We got other obligations.
We do.
Got so much going on.
And we have obligations to you, the viewers. Sports Daily on sports.com and ustream.tv. It's another
That's it? We're not even going to talk about Jim Tressel?
Tomorrow.
All right.
We're
we'll
over.
Talk about
We're
Jim
over.
Tressel tomorrow.
We're over.
You know Ohio State was my team growing up.
I know they were.
Sports Daily. Michael Artsis, Darrell Reid, sports.com, ustream.tv. See you tomorrow.